everyone. We are here at KubeCon Detroit 2022. If you want to get updates around specific technologies and the discussions, this is what we're doing over here. And in this interview with my good friend Marino, we're going to talk about Service Mesh. What is Service Mesh? What are the discussions happening around KubeCon? If you're watching from home, if the event is over and you're doing a recap, here are all the things you need to know in order to learn more. But before we move forward, Marino, quickly, how was your experience at KubeCon? Yeah, I know you have a booth. Such a big booth, so you definitely had some good conversations. How was it?
It was a great time overall. I had an interesting week altogether. I had to go back home and then come back, so it is what it is. But I came back for the main event, the highlight, and quite honestly, KubeCon is a very generalist event because there's so much going on. Our event actually usually happens at Service Mesh Con, and what came out of that is something called Cloud Native 2.0. We've moved past the infrastructure networking and even some of the basics Kubernetes networking that exists. But sometimes we need some additional intelligence, and that's where the service mesh world comes in. So there are a few service meshes out there. One very well known is called Istio, and it provides key things like connectivity through security, traffic management, as well as observability for our microservices to know how they're performing, how healthy they are, and so for us to also make very intelligent routing decisions when we need to. Now that being said, right, service mesh is not easy. You kind of need some help, and this is where Solo comes in. We help you out, we'll help you connect, we'll help you secure, but not only that, we'll cover the full stack and we'll abstract. But going beyond that, there was another key theme that came out of Service Mesh Con, and it was something called ambient mesh. Ambient mesh is a new mode in Service Mesh that allows you to remove the need for a sidecar. Now the sidecar has traditionally always provided that intelligent routing for that app, but when you remove the sidecar, where does all that function go? So in ambient mesh, a lot of that has been moved off to something called the Z-tunnel and the waypoint proxy, and that facilitates all the traffic management, all the observability and security that you would normally find in a normally functioning service mesh. What does that mean for you? Well, it just means easier onboarding. You can operationalize this a lot better because previously when you have to roll out a service mesh, that means you have to consider a downtime. You have to consider what that means for your running services right now. With this new mode of ambient, it will make your operations running for service mesh a lot easier, a lot more attainable, and you can onboard sooner. Plus, you also get the benefits of security. And here we are today. At the end of the day, service mesh is a VPN in my opinion. I love it. I love working with the technology. Y'all should learn more. If you have any thoughts about it, let's talk.
Amazing. And from all the discussions you've had at the booth, for folks who may be experienced or just getting started, what are some of the challenges they face? And how is Service Mesh helping with that?
So one of the key challenges is security, right? How do you achieve a zero trust infrastructure and even an app infrastructure network? Zero trust means I can only allow you to do things if I can verify who you are, I can verify your policies and authenticate you. And this is what Istio, the service mesh, provides. It's providing a security layer so that you can implement that zero trust functionality. So here's a very classic example. You realize that you want service A to talk to service B to talk to service C, and you have to go out and create those certificates for each one, which means you have to invoke the Kubernetes CSR process. Go learn from Kunal about that if you want to learn more about that. But having to do that for 1,000 microservices is not scalable. Doing it with something like Istio, the Istio service mesh, very achievable in a much shorter time frame, and it saves you an operational nightmare.
Amazing, and I know you're a Civo advocate as well. So I believe you use Civo for your demos and stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe if you'd like to share a little bit more about that.
Absolutely, yeah. So I love using Civo Cloud for one because I get Kubernetes clusters in under 2 minutes. Actually, I think under 90 seconds now, if I'm not mistaken.
It's going to reduce even more.
Yeah, so I need that at times. I need the speed because if I'm throwing a script to build me a cluster to deploy Istio to follow up with the Glue Mesh overlay, I need speed, right? And I can't be sitting and waiting there, especially if I have a demo to deliver. So Civo Cloud has been very powerful that way and versatile, but at the same time, to the point. All I need is a cluster, there's my cluster. If I want to add on to it, there's a marketplace. And then further to that, they offer compute. So sometimes I don't always want to use a cluster. Sometimes I just need a bare virtual machine to do just a few things. Civo gives it to me, and it makes it super easy. Civo has a developer advocate program. Sign up, you get $1,000 in credit.
All right, so Marino, from all the information that you have gathered at this KubeCon, what are some of the trends that we are likely to see in the future?
I think we're going to see a lot more edge computing pop up. We're going to see a lot more development in Rust. And I honestly feel like technologies like a service mesh are going to power edge computing. So look out for those three key
The
themes.
service mesh is here to stay.
It's here to stay, it's here to grow, it's here to help you grow.
All right, well, take a note of that, and we'll see you at the next KubeCon. Thanks a lot for joining, Marino. Have a great KubeCon, everyone. And if you want to see more clips from KubeCon, check out Civo TV on YouTube.